I ever got pulled over, I was ecstatic. Because I wasn't driving just any car. I was behind the wheel of the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Yes. For those of you who don't know, who didn't figure it out from the beginning, it's a 23-foot long hot dog on wheels that travels around North America doing PR and promotions. Now, what the former hot doggers had told us, hot doggers were the official title, they told us that whenever you get pulled over by the cops, it's really not a big deal. You can, they'll just give you some they just are looking for tchotchkes, they want some pictures, and then they'll let you go. So I was like, sweet. So I'm watching the cop approach the side mirror of the Wienermobile, or side window, and he's got the face of Danny DeVito, the body of James Gandolfini, and as he approached, all the charisma of Dick Cheney, which seemed appropriate because he was a New Jersey state trooper. And he says, license and registration. So I give him the documents, and then he turns around and walks back to his squad car. And I look at my partner, Jason, and I was like, he's sitting to my right, and I said, hey, how come he didn't say anything about our car? And Jason goes, Robin, not everybody is a fan. And I said, come on, like everybody loves a Wienermobile, you know? And I said, all right, fine, maybe not PETA. And so then I noticed that Jason's acting really unusual. He's fidgeting a lot, and he seems really kind of nervous. And this was very unusual for him because he was one of the chillest people I'd ever met in my entire life. And just to give you guys an idea about how different we were, it's kind of like you and Amy, like I'm the rule follower and he was the rule breaker. He broke like every rule in the hot dogger handbook. So where I would play the wiener and like the 21 versions of the wiener and the bologna jingles out the PA, he would play the jerky boys. Yeah, I would, drive the speed limit. He would do donuts with the Wienermobile in the parking lot. Yeah. And when I was driving, I would honk and wave at people. When Jason drove, he would put his hand behind my head, force it between his legs, wait till a family in a minivan came by, and like just as they're about to take a picture, he would lift my head up. And inevitably, I'd always be smiling. Which I'm sure was the kind of visibility that Oscar Mayer wants, So the cop comes back and he gives me back my license and registration, and he's like, I'm gonna need you to step out of the car. And so Jason's still nervous. I was like, I got this. So I go bounding out of the Wienermobile, and I'm wearing a goofy t-shirt, and I don't mean one of my t-shirts that has an ear of corn and it says, "Me so corny" underneath. See one. I was literally wearing a t-shirt with Disney's character Goofy on it. And so I was like, hey officer, would you like a wiener whistle? Which by the way is not a euphemism. And he goes, where are you headed? And I said, oh, well, tomorrow we're going to the ShopRite in Secaucus, and then on Thursday we're going to have a hot dog eating contest in Piscataway. I was like, you should come. And he says, what happened to your license plate? And I said, oh, funny story, we actually were at the Cleveland Air Show, and the Navy Blue Angels stole it. And I was like, now look at us. We're in quite a pickle. And this guy had no sense of humor. And so he says to me, do I have any reason to believe there are drugs in this vehicle? Oh my God. I know, exactly. And that's when I was like, this guy's a complete moron. But without missing a beat, I go, please, there's no hash in this hot dog. And again, like no response, but in my head, I'm like, awesome, I was fine, my way to go. I was so proud of myself. And then he says the most incredulous thing to me. He says, well, how do I know you didn't just drive this thing up here from Colombia? And that's when I realized I was dealing with a complete moron. So I said, sir, with all due respect, have you heard of Oscar Mayer? And he says, yeah, of course, but how do I know you didn't just slap this logo on your car? And I'm thinking, like, slap this logo on my $1 million custom-made hot dog car that I used to smuggle cocaine with into this country. Sure. So he's like, I'm gonna need to search this vehicle for drugs. I'm like, go ahead. So I'm thinking, like, he's not gonna find anything, like, other than, you know, like, 8 boxes of wiener whistles and some baloney balloons. Like, it's not a big deal. And so Jason comes out. Jason's still nervous. And then the cop comes out like 10 minutes later, and I was like, well, that was quick. So I'm thinking, oh, good, we can get out of here. And he steps out and he says, I'm gonna need to impound this vehicle. And then I realized, like, holy cow, this guy's actually really serious. Like, I thought this was all like kind of fun and silly, but he actually means business. And then I started freaking out because I knew I didn't have any drugs because I didn't do drugs. I mean, I had to be actually drug tested for the Wienermobile, and I didn't pass the first time because I was so freaked out. I drank too much water and completely diluted the results. So then that second time, which was at Hot Dog High, which was our training program, I had to take it again. And I was really freaked out because I had been to a Sting concert the night before. And everybody around me was smoking pot, so like the whole time I'm like, message in a bottle. But luckily I passed. So I was like, I'm fine. I don't have any drugs. And then I'm looking at Jason, who is like kind of frantically moving around the Wienermobile, and I was like, I've only known this guy for 3 months. Like, I actually don't know him all that well. And I started thinking about the fact that whenever we go to Penn State, he's always smoking pot with his buddies, and on this particular day, he was wearing a tie-dye shirt. And then I thought, oh my God, he always wants to listen to Fish. I wonder why he's freaking out. He's the one with the drugs. So he comes out, the cop comes back, and I said, and the cop's like, so I need to talk to you two. And I'm thinking, oh, Graham, but this is all your fault, Jason. And I'm getting all like worked up about it. And the cop says, why didn't you two tell me to look this thing up as a truck? And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I assumed you knew. This isn't exactly a normal car. And he's like, look, I'm gonna let you guys go with a warning. But in the next 48 hours, I want you to put a new plate on this dick truck. You got me? And I was like, got it. Thanks a lot. And Jason was like, Robin, get in the car. So I get back in, and we take off, and I'm like honking and waving at the cop. I'm like, thanks a lot, dude. And then I look at Jason, and he's so calm. And I was like, what's your deal back there? Like, do you have something on you? And he said, he's like, no, I was just freaked out because we always let, you know, like hundreds of people in the Wienermobile every day, and you don't know, maybe somebody planted something. And I said, all right, well, I guess that makes sense. And I was like, was that it? And he's like, yeah, well, I didn't want to get busted for having a radar detector. And I thought, okay. And then I'm like, you're all worked up about it, but yet you still like plug it right back in as soon as the cop drives by. So we make our way to Secaucus, and a few weeks later, we get pulled over once again on the Cross Bronx Expressway. And I was very excited though, because I was like, all right, this is like my chance again. And this time, I got a speeding ticket. Thanks.